At Chicago O'Hare, chaos reigns. What was once a symbol of seamless travel has now become the epicenter of nationwide turmoil. Thousands of anxious travelers pack the terminals, their faces etched with worry and exhaustion as they search for answers and updates. All eyes are glued to the departure boards, which are now a sea of red, filled with cancellations and delays that seem to multiply by the hour. The air is thick with frustration and uncertainty. Families, some with young children, camp out on the cold, hard floors, their vacation dreams and urgent plans unraveling before their eyes. This isn't just a bad travel day, it's a national crisis. The tension is palpable, fueled by deep political gridlock and ongoing economic conflict that have paralyzed the system. Similar scenes of confusion and distress are unfolding at airports across the country, from the bustling terminals of New York to the sprawling concourses of Los Angeles. No region is spared. A government shutdown, now in its third week, and a Canadian tourism boycott have pushed the entire aviation system to the brink of collapse. Checkpoints stand empty, counters are closed, and staff hold protest signs demanding action. TSA agents and air traffic controllers, working without pay, are stretched to their limits. Exhausted and demoralized, they struggle to maintain even the most basic levels of order and safety, knowing the stakes have never been higher. What began as a political dispute has now spiraled into a full-blown operational nightmare. Millions of travelers are stranded, forced to sleep in terminals or wait in endless lines, while the nation's confidence in its aviation system is shaken to the core. The question on everyone's mind: when will this chaos end? The government shutdown has left critical aviation agencies unfunded, grinding the gears of the nation's air travel system to a halt. Offices that once buzzed with activity now sit eerily silent, and the Federal Aviation Administration, responsible for keeping our skies safe, has been forced to close its doors to all but the most essential operations. This crisis is forcing essential workers, air traffic controllers, safety inspectors, and airport staff to show up without pay. Many are now struggling to make ends meet, unsure when their next paycheck will arrive. Morale is plummeting as the stress of financial insecurity mounts. Fatigue is rampant in a field where mistakes can be deadly. Long hours and mounting pressure are taking a toll on those who keep our skies safe, increasing the risk of errors that could have catastrophic consequences. In response, the Transportation Secretary has slashed flights by 10% at 40 major airports, a desperate move to keep safety intact. This drastic reduction is meant to ease the burden on overworked staff, but it comes at a steep cost to travelers and the economy. Airlines are scrambling to rebook passengers, while travelers face sudden cancellations, missed connections, and endless uncertainty. The ripple effect is immediate. Vacations are ruined, business trips are derailed, and the frustration is palpable in every terminal. This is a temporary fix, not a solution. The workforce remains under extreme duress, with no clear end in sight. Many fear that continued stress and understaffing will only make things worse. The FAA warns that if the shutdown drags on, even harsher restrictions could follow, potentially grounding more flights and further crippling the system. The ripple effects are everywhere. Businesses miss crucial meetings, supply chains stall as cargo sits idle, and families are separated by thousands of miles, unable to reunite. The impact stretches far beyond the airport walls. The shutdown is no longer just politics, it's a daily crisis for millions of Americans. Every day, more people are caught in the crossfire, their lives disrupted by a standoff far beyond their control. America's aviation system is crippled, and the consequences are growing by the day. Until a solution is found, the nation's runways remain a symbol of uncertainty, frustration, and mounting risk. Even before the shutdown, U.S. aviation was reeling from the effects of escalating trade wars. Tensions between the U.S. and its trading partners had already begun to disrupt the flow of travelers and goods, creating uncertainty across the industry. Steep tariffs on Canadian goods sparked a grassroots tourism boycott. In response to these tariffs, many Canadians have chosen to spend their travel dollars elsewhere, avoiding trips to the United States. This shift is not just a symbolic gesture, it's a powerful economic statement that's being felt in real time. This boycott has gutted local economies, especially in cities and towns that rely heavily on Canadian visitors. Once bustling border communities now face deserted streets and shuttered storefronts, as the steady stream of tourists has slowed to a trickle. Hotels, restaurants, and tour operators are struggling to stay afloat. With empty rooms, vacant tables, and few bookings, many businesses are being forced to cut hours or even close their doors, putting local jobs at risk. Airlines are also taking a major hit, losing revenue from both canceled flights and a sharp drop in international demand. Planes that once carried tourists across the border now sit idle, and flight schedules have been slashed. Airports, too, feel the pinch as passenger numbers fall. Security lines that were once long now move quickly, and departure halls echo with emptiness, highlighting the scale of the downturn. The crisis exposes how trade policy can devastate entire industries far beyond its intended targets. Airport shops and services are closing, and workers across the travel sector are facing layoffs and uncertainty. Communities dependent on tourism are learning how quickly prosperity can vanish. The ripple effects are being felt everywhere, from small family-run businesses to large hotel chains, reminding us how interconnected the global economy truly is. The aviation meltdown is now an economic disaster, compounding the pain of political dysfunction. As the crisis deepens, it's clear that the consequences of trade wars extend far beyond politics, leaving lasting scars on communities and industries nationwide. Behind the headlines are real people, federal employees, travelers, and small business owners caught in the crossfire. Air traffic controllers and TSA agents work without pay, juggling bills and stress while keeping the system running. Many take second jobs or rely on food banks, their focus and morale eroding. Travelers' lives are upended, weddings missed, family reunions canceled, passengers stranded for days. The emotional toll is immense, turning travel dreams into nightmares. Small businesses near airports see customers vanish and staff laid off. These stories reveal the true cost of the crisis, families and livelihoods in jeopardy. The aviation system is more than infrastructure. It's an economic lifeline for millions. Now that lifeline is fraying. As the crisis deepens, calls for action grow louder. Airline CEOs and industry groups demand an end to the shutdown, warning of economic and safety risks. Labor unions rally, sharing stories of unpaid workers pushed to the brink. The message is clear: safety cannot be maintained by a stressed, unpaid workforce. Government officials cut flights as a warning, escalating pressure on Congress. Lawmakers from travel-dependent districts break ranks, feeling heat from angry constituents. The crisis is no longer abstract, it's a political emergency with real-world consequences. Inaction is no longer an option. The nation demands a solution. The gravest threat is invisible: rising safety risks in the skies. Air traffic controllers, distracted by financial stress, face mounting fatigue and absenteeism. Staffing shortages force longer hours, increasing the risk of human error. The FAA's flight cuts are a desperate attempt to reduce workload, but they're only a temporary fix. Safety margins are eroding, and unions warn they can't guarantee the system's integrity much longer. Public trust in air travel, built over decades, is now at risk. The shutdown exposes a fatal flaw: essential safety functions are vulnerable to political games. Without urgent action, a preventable tragedy looms. The first step to recovery is clear: end the government shutdown and restore funding. Only then can stability return to the workforce and the system. Long-term, experts urge moving air traffic control to an independent, non-profit model, insulated from politics. This would ensure stable funding and prevent future crises. Rebuilding trust with international visitors, especially Canadians, will require diplomatic repair and targeted outreach. The travel industry must show it values its neighbors and their business. This crisis is a wake-up call. Critical infrastructure cannot be a bargaining chip. The future demands responsible governance, investment, and respect for the workforce. By learning from this disaster, America can build a more resilient aviation system, one ready for any storm.